Okay, let me see. Hey guys. Walk your walkers. I love you, buddy. Y'all. Hey guys, hey guys, hey y'all, hey y'all. So I just got done sharing it on Twitter to let people know that we were here. You know, I don't have a Facebook anymore because it's toxic as hell. Hey Sam. Hey Jordan. Hey Jason. Hey classy bitch. Okay, so welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm super excited to have everybody here. So the past 2 live streams, you guys, have been awesome. I want to thank everybody for helping me like moderate comments, and you know, I just want to remind everybody that we're here to help everybody, but if somebody's coming in here and they're being disrespectful, you know, then we don't have to put up with that. So if you see somebody that's coming in clowning or just being disrespectful, take them out. Okay? Or if you have questions and you're like, I don't know if I should take this one out, just say something about it in the feed and we'll handle it then, you know? So, excuse me. Sorry, my throat's all messed up. But other than that, like, I feel like this live streams have been really going good, and I'm super happy to have everybody that wants to participate, because that's what it's all about, just helping each other. You know, it's connecting with other people who are going through the same struggle, and just supporting each other, you know, pushing each other through. I'm trying to make this my first night sober. I fell off and said, screw it, but I'm taking the plunge tonight. Yeah, and Sam, the thing about it is, girl, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be fun, you know, but have somebody like your mom or someone you trust be there with you. And if you get sick or start feeling pain, go to the emergency room. Do not pick that bottle back up. Because if you pick that bottle back up, you're starting yourself all over again. It's going to be, what happened? Oh, you're going to have to push through, you know, but I'm telling you right now that if you're struggling and you feel sick, go to the emergency room and let them know, hey, I'm going through alcohol detox and I need help. Because you're going to be sick. But you have to, the thing about it is, Sam, hey, Michelle, you have to want it, girl. You got to want it, okay? And I know you don't want to, I know that you don't want to stay in this bullshit any longer. I know that it's killing you, okay? And I know your mom is so worried about you. Hey, Kim. And that you deserve recovery. You deserve to be sober and happy and loving yourself and living your best life. See, that's the thing when we're out there using and drinking, because, girl, it's you become physically dependent on alcohol. It's not, it isn't your mind, but it's also your body. It's just like opiates. When our bodies become physically dependent on alcohol and opiates, and it's not that like you're weak or anything. It's because your body has to have that shit to function. It's like, it's alcohol and opiates are the only drugs that, you know, and benzos that your body becomes like physically addicted to. And if she goes to the ER, you guys, they'll help her with comfort meds because her blood pressure will be going up, all kinds of stuff. And that's why I'm telling you, Sam, I can give you my friend's number that lives in Chicago, and he can get you into detox, girl. And it'll change your life because you'll have like a head start. It is really, really difficult for an alcoholic who an alcoholic who is dependent on alcohol like you are, like most alcoholics, but this is like serious, to stop at their home. when they know that they can go out and get alcohol anytime they want. And you're going to go through pain. And so when you're detoxing, that disease of addiction is going to be attacking you from all sides, and it's going to be telling you to go out and get a beer, to go out and get a bottle. So like I can... Yeah, and Sam, I just wish that, I know that you don't want to go to detox, but I'm telling you, Sam, right now, I'm not trying to be a bitch. I'm not trying to be mean, but until you will become willing enough to say fuck it and just go, I'm telling you, I have a feeling you're going to be coming back and forth. Hey, Avalon, I know that a lot of you guys don't want to go to treatment, okay? I know a lot of you guys don't want to give up or leave your loved ones, but I'm going to tell you this right now. All those things that you're afraid of losing, all those loved ones that you're afraid you won't see, the jobs you're afraid you're going to lose, the kids that you're going to leave, will you have any of those things if you continue drinking and using? You're going to lose them all anyway. Only you're going to lose them because of your addiction. So why not surrender, throw up the white flag, and get professional help? Get to detox, get to treatment. Hey, everybody, and get the help that you need. Because it's like, you guys, it's like us putting, it's excuses. It's excuses. Okay? I love you guys, and I would not tell you this if I didn't care. Okay? All the things that you're afraid to leave to go to treatment, you will not have them. If you continue going like you're going, you are not going to keep those things. You will lose everything. If there's one thing that when I was in my addiction, you guys, I lost it all. I lost everything. Okay? I lost everything. Cars, homes, jobs, friends, boyfriends, kid. I lost everything. So I always would just go into treatment like it was like a break for me. Like, woohoo, let's go take a break, you know. Let me go in there and get
This happened again.
I became so accustomed to going into treatment. It was no
do it on a different phone.
No, baby. It was no thing to leave and go to treatment. And that's why, I guess, for me, I don't understand. I know the first time I went to treatment, I was afraid. I know I was afraid because I had a boyfriend, and I knew that he was probably going to cheat on me and see somebody else. But it was just like I had gotten to that point where I knew I needed help. I had to go get help. I could not do this on my own. And even after going to rehab 5 times, I still need help because it's when you go into treatment, it almost like gives you a head start. It gives you 30 days of having like stability and having a program and having a schedule. And it's really not that bad, you guys. It's like going to summer camp for 30 days and meeting all kinds of new people and staying the night. You know, you get to meet different girls, and it's like a slumber party, kind of. Only with like, it's really not that bad. I know for me in my addiction, I was homeless. I was sleeping on people's couches. I was walking the streets. Going into treatment was like, hey, let me go take a break. Let me relax and rest my head for a minute. That's why I'm like, I just think it's so important, you guys. If you are addicted to a drug or alcohol that has you go through withdrawals, you need to go into treatment. You need to go get help. You need to go somewhere where you can be medically detoxed, and you can be like monitored and made sure that you're okay. Because anything can happen when you're going through withdrawals, you guys. You can die, you know. You could have a heart attack. I'm just going to tell you like this, guys. I know you're mad at me, Sam. I know, baby. And don't be mad at yourself. And it's okay if you're mad at me. Hey, the Logical Muse. I love you, Sam, and if I didn't care about you, I wouldn't tell you this, okay? But what's going to happen is you're going to get to a point where you're desperate, where you're willing to do whatever it takes, where you don't give a damn about who you're going to leave behind or what's going to happen, and you're going to throw up your hands, okay? And you're going to say, I need help. And that's the gift of desperation. That's when you're so desperate that you don't care what you got to do. That you will, like I said before, you'll go outside, do a headstand, and drop it like it's hot to get into the doors of treatment. That's what you'll do. And that's that gift of desperation. It happens for all of us at different times. Some of us, it takes us losing our kids, our homes, our loved ones, our families, being homeless, prostitution, cheating on our old men, selling our bodies for drugs, or committing crimes, harming others. Everyone's bottoms are different, Everybody's bottoms are different, but I'm telling you, I don't want your bottom to be, Sam, I don't want your bottom to be death. All right, I know all the things that you struggle with, and I'm afraid that you're going to die, girl. And it scares me to death. I don't know what to do, because I want to come to Chicago, and I want to grab you up by your little ass body, throw you in the back of my car, and take your motherfucking ass to treatment and tie your ass down. I would take you and handcuff your ass into my truck, and I would take you to treatment, and then I would chain your ass to the bed. Because people that don't care about you, they're going to tell you, oh, it's okay, you can do it on your own. Bullshit. Lies. You got to get some help. Alcohol is so dangerous. You could die, and your mom is not medically equipped to treat you if something happens in the middle of your detox. So, girl, if I was you, you know what I would do right now? I would say, fuck it. And I would go my ass down to the ER, and I would tell them, please help me. I would walk into the emergency room, and I would cry. And I would say, please help me. I'm an alcoholic, and I can't stop drinking. I'm going to die. I'm going to kill myself. I love you guys, and I never want anyone to think that I'm coming at them from a place of hatred or thinking I'm better than you, because it's not that. It's not that at all. I just know how dangerous it is. Sam, and that's the thing, girl. It's like, yeah, your life is this at 25, but if you say right now, this is it, I'm not going to do this anymore, and you go and get help now, you still have your whole life ahead of you. Girl, 25 is young. 25 is young. If you keep on going, you're going to be like me, and you're not going to get sober for another 7 years. And a whole bunch of bad shit happened after 25 for me. That's when I started shooting up. That's when I started basically prostituting my body, selling my ass, trading my ass, whatever I could do. It only gets worse. It only gets worse. So I'm not going to sit here, because I could talk about it all day long. I just want you to know that if you want to get help, all you got to do is pick up the phone and call me. I have the resources, and I will hook you up with the people, and they will get you in treatment. So I wanted to talk to you guys about relapse and relapse prevention, because that's what somebody, I think Classy Bitch wanted to talk about relapse and relapse prevention, and that's something that I have a lot of experience with. I know, I love you, Sam, and here's the thing. There's a guy in Chicago, in Illinois. His name is Tim Ryan, okay? And he has a foundation there. I think it's called From Dope to Hope. And so what he does is he is able to get people like scholarships into treatment if they don't have insurance. But I know that you have insurance, girl. So all you got to do is reach out and say, I need detox. Can somebody get me detox? I got worse every time I tried without Matt. Relapse prevention is something I would definitely benefit from. I'm 4 months off fentanyl. That's awesome, Leah, and I'm so proud of you. And that's the thing. Okay, so going in, okay, so first of all, with relapse and relapse prevention, I feel like what I had to do was I had to start identifying the things that were happening before I would have a relapse, okay? So the way that I was able to do that is by looking back at my past experiences. So, okay, so there's one relapse that I had that was very significant in my life that I remember, and I usually refer back to it over and over and over again because it was, okay, when I got out of prison, I went into a halfway house, okay? And so I had been in prison for a year, and I paroled out to the halfway house, okay? So I started I think it was like IOP classes, and I was living at the halfway house, and I got myself a job because that was one of the stipulations, was to get yourself a job. So I got myself a job, and then I had to go to meetings, and I had to get a sponsor. So I got myself a sponsor, started working the steps, and I started going to meetings. I think I had to go to like 3 a week. So what happened for me, and it'll probably happen this way for you guys because I hear so many people this happens to them the same way, is you'll be doing well. You'll get yourself a sponsor, you'll work the steps, you'll be going to meetings, and then you'll get a job. And what happens is that a lot of us think, okay, I got a job, and now, okay, we get distracted almost, or at least I did. I'm going to speak like for my own experience. I got a job, and like I always I think about, well, if I have a job, then I'm doing good in life. If I have a job, then I'm able to support myself. I can help take care of, if I have a family or bills or whatever, like I got to support myself. I'm so excited, you guys. So what slowly starts happening, and Jordan, I want you to listen to this, okay? What slowly starts happening is that job starts sneaking up and taking first place. So what happens? If I'm going to 3 meetings a week, I drop off and I only go to 2. And that's how it happens so slowly, you guys. And then 1 will fall off. And then I'll stop calling my sponsor. And so this is why when I was telling you guys, when I was telling you earlier, Jordan, if you're getting a job, go into it like this, girl. If you have CR meetings on Thursday, you need to go to your job and talk to your boss and tell him, hey, I have CR meetings on Thursdays. These meetings are what helps me stay sober. If I don't go to these meetings, then I won't come to this job because I will be high. It's so important, you guys, to be assertive. We have to let people know where we're at. I had to let my job know, hey, I have to be off at a certain time during the day so I can get off, get my son, and then do my recovery, And when I first started out, what would happen was I would slowly but surely let my job take precedent. It's so easy to do. So when things are going so good and I feel great, that's when I want to use. And that's, okay, so share, I do the same thing. What will happen is, it's almost like I feel like I deserve it, like a celebration. Oh, I got my job. Oh, I'm taking care of my family. Oh, I just got a raise and I got promoted. And what happens is, if I'm letting these, first of all, what I've noticed is, if we can stop our thoughts as they're coming in, like, okay, it's really important for us to start working on changing our thought process. Okay, if I'm constantly referring back to almost like glorifying drugs and thinking about, oh wow, that made me feel so great. We have to change the way we feel about drugs and alcohol. I used to romanticize about drugs and alcohol. I used to fantasize about how good it made me feel when I would get high. And now what I put together with drugs and alcohol when I think about them is the destruction that they wreaked havoc in my life. So that's what we have to change, how we relate to drugs and alcohol. We used to think of them as something like, yes, I love that. I want to feel that. Now we have to change our, like I was telling you earlier, change our perspective on how we feel about drugs. Drugs are not our friend. Alcohol is not our friend. This shit took everything from us. Okay? I love y'all. Try to make it back. Okay, Frank, love you too. Drugs and alcohol took our lives, you guys. I was talking to a girl that I'm friends with on the phone the other day, and I was talking to her about Xanax and how Xanax had so much power over me. That little pill could ruin my life in like 12 seconds, just from popping it in my mouth. That shit took me down through there, Same with Roxy's. That little pill bottle was like my life inside of it. It's like, I want to take my power back. I'm not going to let pills and alcohol and booze and coke and meth have that power over me anymore, That's what we have to do. We got to take our power back. And we have to start associating drugs and alcohol in our mind as bad shit. Like, instead of thinking, so I know that I tell a lot of story times and they're really funny, you guys. Like, I know that, But I always want you guys to know that that shit was funny, but it's not funny anymore. Like, if I used today, I would die. I would overdose and die. My mom was telling me to. I'm going to tell her, the manager, and hopefully it won't be an issue. I've been jobless this whole 18 months. The last thing I need is a job to come and screw stuff up. Exactly, Jordan. And that's the way I was wanting you to think about it too. Because you've made it this long without a job. If this job's not going to work with you, then you know what, sister? You don't need it. And it's hard because we feel like we have to take the first thing, that comes up to us. Because we feel pressure. But there's no pressure, You have a good family, girl. You have a good support system. You're really smart. Take your time. Take your time and lean on your family now while you can, okay? For me, I thought I had... Right, and that's the thing, when we're in our active addiction, it's like our whole life is centered around those drugs, our drugs of choice. We wake up thinking about it. We go to bed thinking about it. We're searching for it the whole day, or already have it and using it the whole day. When you think back to your life when you were using, you guys, how was it for you? Were you like me? I mean, my whole day was centered on looking and searching or using. I feel nothing. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, GOAT, what we have to learn now, and this is what I've been learning, is how to cope with feelings. I feel like a lot of the times when I would relapse, either it was because I let my recovery take second place, or I was going through something that I didn't know how to deal with. So I reached for something outside of myself to change the way I felt. Maybe it was just stress on not knowing how to stay sober. Maybe it was my parents being worried about me and me being away from them and me not knowing how to communicate what I was feeling. You know what I mean? Coping with feelings for me has been like the hardest thing for me to learn, because the only way I coped with things was either through anger or just like bawling my eyes out. Fear and anger and crying. Like, I didn't know how to like problem solve. He's just mad sad, but it's coming to forget it all. So yeah, and that's what, how that song, it's like it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's like, okay, it was 5 o'clock all day long for me. I only used it for sleep, never took it during the day. So, I never see, that's the thing, like I have never, I have to actively work at changing my thought process. I have had to actively work at dealing with life on life's terms. I didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm not a drug addict anymore. Like, I can slip back into my old behavior anytime. And there are little like warning signs that I see when I'm slipping back into my old behavior. When I'm paying too much attention to negativity and people trolling me or commenting like rude shit to me, and I let that get to me and let it get down into my soul and let it actually second guess what I'm really trying to do here, that's when I know I'm slipping. Because what I'm doing here and what I'm trying to accomplish with all of you guys and for myself is to live life right and do the next right thing and support each other. That's all, that's what I'm trying to do. And when I'm lapsing in my judgment is when I let other people's opinions of me who don't even know me affect me. One of the best things that anybody ever told me was to take my attention away from people who were trying to fuck with me, who were trying to bring me down. If I don't pay them any attention, then they're not going to bother me. And that's what I do now. Like, I'm literally learning day by day to just stop paying people attention. If they're not here to support and here to spread a message of sobriety and recovery and helping each person get to the next step, to hell with them. I haven't learned coping skills. And that's, a lot of these doctors, we're not going to get into that. All I know is that I have learned to sleep without medication. Like I used to have to take Xanax and Seroquel and Trazodone and a couple other sleeping medicines. But now, you know what I do, you guys? I take melatonin, and every now and then, if I really can't sleep, I'll take a Benadryl, and it makes me really tired. But even that, I have to be careful with, you guys, because my body, my mind, my drug-addicted mind wants to say, well, maybe if you take 2 more of those, you'll feel even better, Don't tell people what Xanax really is and does to your body. And that's what I was going to say. The logical muse is that so many people just prescribe it like, oh, this will help you with your anxiety. But you realize that, like, once I got on benzos, my anxiety actually got worse after I got off benzos. And so what it does is it makes you dependent on this medication to be okay. So then when you don't have it, it's like relearning how to live all over again. And it's so difficult. That's why I think, we all want a quick fix. We all want to feel better and not have to deal with life on life's terms. And that's why we would go to the doctor and get our prescriptions and fill those up. You know what I mean? Yes, the pill becomes your coping mechanism. That's what it is. It's a quick fix. And it's just a cover up, you guys, because that problem is still going to be there tomorrow. That's what I always have to remind myself. If the thought comes in my mind like, oh yeah, let's relapse tonight. I'm like, you know what? I have to play the tape all the way through. And I'm just not down for that anymore. Like, I don't want to take myself back that way, Relapse is like something I just don't want to relapse. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I try to think about it because I remember when I was constantly relapsing. And y'all know that I was a polysubstance abuser. So methamphetamine was my favorite drug. And then I would shoot Roxy too. So I was really dependent on opiates, but I loved meth too. And then I threw Xanax in to mix it, right? Right? And so when I used to relapse, I think it was also because I just wasn't ready to be sober. Like, I still wanted to get high. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still wanted to get stoned. So that's why I would use, because I still wanted to use. But then there was also times where it was like I was in between, like wanting to use and not wanting to use. Do you know what I mean? So Oh, Vegas Barbie, I'm sorry, girl. I'm so glad you're here, though. Um, it was just like, I heard Nicole talking about Halal earlier. I actually dreamed of using Halal back then, and I was in such a search for an escape. Listen, that shit will mess. That shit is strong. What was I saying? It just went blank. I have terrible anxiety, also self-doubt. Yes, I know what you mean. That is why I can't stop smoking. It's okay, Cher. And listen, Cher, you just take your time, girl. Don't let anybody shame you. It takes time to get off that medication. And you know what? Just, girl, listen. Don't let anybody shame you. That's not what this group is about. This group is not for us to come in and tell people when they need to taper or tell people what's sober and what's not. That's not what this group is here. Hey, Phil, this group is here to support you in whatever stage of your recovery you are. You know, and if you don't like that, then fuck off. Everybody else is here to support one another. I don't care how you got sober. I don't care if you smoke pot. I don't care if you eat kratom. I don't care. Like, as long as you're living your life and you're successful and thriving, and I'm not a judge. You know what I mean? I am here to support you guys in whatever you do. I just want you guys to know that, like, I feel like sometimes I feel like a lot of times what will happen is, like, people think, oh, well, because they were on something for a certain amount of time and they tapered off of something at a certain amount of time, then that's what everybody is supposed to do. And for the longest time, you guys, I had dealt with so much shame, and I would feel so bad, like I wasn't doing a good enough job, you know? And I know that shame and that guilt is my addiction, you know, having me feel that way. People have no idea how hard Ben's. Yeah, it's totally, just take your time. But I have them here and I get bored and I pop one. Oh, Vegas. I know, girl. And you know what? That's why it's like, if you can find somebody that can hold them for you and dispense them to you as, you know, as they need to be, then that would be the best bet, because it's really hard to taper ourselves, I feel like. That's why, like, with methadone, the doctor will do a blind taper, so that way you don't even know that you're coming off. You know, well, you know, but you don't know what milligram you're on. To the point to where if I didn't go to inpatient for Menzo's, I would be in prison. I know, Goat, and listen, that is how it was for me, because I don't know how you got when you took them, but Cher's not like us, I don't think, when she takes them. Like, I would go out and steal a whole Walmart, you guys. Then I would drive my car around and knock into people and run people over. And it was just like, oh my God, here comes the tornado. You know, Jordan, I don't know why I think they don't do that with subs, because they give you a prescription, like, to take home. And with methadone, you have to go and dose there. So it's the liquid. And what they can do is they can slowly take it down, you know? I did too, Leah. And it's really difficult. With Suboxone, I don't know how they taper you with your doctor. I'll figure that out whenever I start. But I'm sure what they do is say, okay, I'm taking 2 milligrams away from you. Here's your script for a month of 2 milligrams and minus, or whatever, you know. I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't either. It's just really, it was hard. It was hard. I've never even tried to taper off anything. I've always just put myself right into treatment. I've never been I'm going to tell you guys for real, like, and I'm glad you say that, Cher, because I've had so many, I watch these videos of people and it scares me so bad, you know. But I was talking to Jason today on the phone, and I want to make sure that I'm, you know, really ready, and I don't think I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm really happy that all you guys are coming to these streams, and I really hope that, you know, we can help each other stay sober. Um, I know that you guys really helped me. First teacher trying to quit benzos, they had me try and taper myself. What a joke that was. In Canada, we have to pick up a week's supply at a time and leave. Do you think 7 to 10 Norcos a day requires rehab? Well, Vegas Barbie, I mean, that's still like 100. I went to rehab when when the first time I ever went to treatment was, I think I was 24, 25, and I was taking like a handful of hydrocodone a day with, you know, Xanax, and I went to treatment. What it does when you go to rehab, girl, is it's just going to give you that it's like a head start, because you cannot get any drugs when you're in there. You know what I mean? And so just think about it this way. Just think about it as a little vacation. You go in there, even if you just go into detox for 7 days.
Put on what I was watching Turbo Toy Time.
Turbo Toy Time? Okay. Even if you just go into detox for 7 days and come out, you're going to need to get yourself involved in like intensive outpatient, to where you're like going to classes every day and learning about the disease of addiction. Because what it is it's just it's learning how to cope. It's learning how to cope all over again. Because just like you said, you're at home and you get bored. So what do? You pop a pill. So now what you're going to have to do is learn how to fill your time so you're not popping pills. You know, and if you could listen to this, girl. You could go to detox. I think it would be like 5 days. They would get you all ready, and then you get out and you go straight into outpatient, right? And you can do it. It's all up to you and how willing you are to make the changes. You know what I mean? You can do this. If you can if you can go into a detox just to get off the pills, clear your mind. Clear your mind. Get yourself a plan of action. Start working out, getting some adrenaline pumping inside of you. That helps a lot, I've heard. I mean, you know, I don't work out, but I've heard it helps. You know, after waking in the hospital, I got my homie's pad with a head wound from a falling on the sidewalk. Oh, mercy. It came back 2 hours later. Detox for a week, and they say you're all good. Then what? AA meetings? Sam, yes, you need to get into AA meetings. You need to get a sponsor. And if you didn't go into rehab for 30 days, you need to be in an AA meeting every single day, girl. Yeah, and that's the thing, Goat. That's what we were talking about yesterday. It's really the follow through. You got to follow up, and what happens when we get out of treatment? What happens, you guys? How many of you have been to treatment? You get out of treatment and you feel good. Oh yeah, got your body back, starting to look good, skin's clearing up, feeling great. That's always what happens. And then what do? We get a little job, start making a little money, and then next thing you know, we're out relapsing, because what? We don't know how to cope with life on life's terms. We forget so easily what it was like in active addiction and how shitty we felt, because our brain is on a loop, and we have to break that loop, you guys. We have to tap into that and cut it in half. Interrupt those thought processes. You know, I cannot tell you guys how many times I got out of treatment and I was like, hey, I'm feeling good, you know? And then I relapse. That's what you have to do, Leah. That's exactly what it is. You have to rewire your whole damn brain, girl. You have to relearn how to think, how to live. That's exactly what it is. But you can do it. And while you're on Suboxone, while you're on your maintenance medication, that's why you have to get a support system. That's why you have to reach out to other ladies in sobriety and talk with them daily. Because when you get off your maintenance, that's whenever all these things will start like coming in and like that's when all these things will like start really affecting you, because coping with life is difficult if you didn't know how to. If you never learned how to cope with life on life's terms, and you always reach for drugs and alcohol, then it's really difficult, you know? I messed myself up. Cars, people, my home, relationships. Yeah, and I'm just glad that we can all sit here and like share our struggles with each other and feel like comfortable. And that's the thing. I want you guys to feel safe here, and I want everyone to be able to talk and share and like not feel judged or anything. So when you're in here, make sure when you're like commenting and stuff that you think before you type stuff out, you know, because I will put your ass on timeout. I'm cool. I'm cool. You hear me? Be honest with yourself. Not like, yeah. And the whole getting honest thing has been that was the hardest thing for me for so many years, because I could not get honest. I could not say, okay, you know, like I need to get help, because, and then when I would get honest, it would only be for a short time, you know, and then I would go back to like lying to myself and telling myself, oh, I can handle it, you know? But you know what? It's better to be honest and to go ahead and get yourself in trouble and get through that shit than to lie and just keep living in that old life. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So, are y'all ready? I told you guys I'd tell y'all story time. I don't think I'll ever be. I was pre-addiction. You know what, Phil? I think about that a lot too. I think about what drugs and alcohol did to me. And when I first got sober, because I shot so much methamphetamine, I had like a really bad neurological like damage. And I would like, it was like a tic almost. But it's gone away, and I'm starting to like feel like okay, like regular. Honestly, my hey girl, long time. Haven't gotten to catch your live lately due to work, but I hope all is well. Hey, Misty. It's good, girl. Thank you. Don't have to tell everyone everything. If I can't tell my old man nowadays what I'm doing, I shouldn't be effing doing it. I know that's right. But you know what? You can get back to what you were before you experienced addiction. You can heal, guys, and we can all heal. You know, we can become better than we were before we got into our addictions. You know, we can become better than that, because now we have so much knowledge, and knowledge is power. We've been through some of the hardest shit that a lot of other people, they would just be like, you know, I can't take this life anymore. I'm checking out. And we've been through it, kicked its ass, and took its name, and now we're out. That's the thing. Like, don't discredit yourself. Okay? You're doing an amazing job. And the fact that you even want, here's the thing. This is what I was talking about the other day. Y'all, I'm trying, you know, and that's all I can do. All I can do is do my best, you know. I'm not perfect. I'm not like the recovery leader of America. I'm just a girl who's trying. I'm just trying to be better. I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday, you know. And I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm insecure. I'm fearful. You know, I'm afraid of people not liking me, and that makes me feel bad sometimes, and I hate that I feel like that. But I'm trying, and that's all you have to do too, is try. You know, just give it a shot, and put everything you've got into it, and you can do it. If I can stop doing all the drugs I was doing, then I can, and then anybody can. Jordan, and as moms, Jordan, I think that we all feel like that. So here's the deal. Perfectionism is a disease. a lot of us who are addicts are also perfectionists, okay? And it's almost like we set ourselves up for failure. Because no one's perfect, you guys. Who's perfect? Only God's perfect, you know? We set ourselves up to be disappointed. So there's a saying in recovery that expectations are just resentments waiting to happen. So instead of placing such high expectations on others or yourself, don't do that. Don't expect things. You know, if you can just lay back and roll with the punches. Just go with the flow. Because when we start putting like okay, whenever I expect a live stream to go a certain way, it'll go the exact opposite. So if I come on here and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have 30 people in the live stream and they're all going to be talking and we're all going to be, it'll be like 2 people, you know? So what I do is I don't set myself up for disappointment. Oh. What is this at? Oh. The more positive we do, the more we counteract the negative energy we put forth. That's right. What was that? I'm reading you guys' comments. I always get so, like, when I'm going through them, I kind of get off because I, like, read them and I'm like, anyway. But I'm just glad that you guys are here and helping me. You know, okay, so did I tell you, I told you guys about the guy that I saw at work today. So when he was talking, I mean, he was pissed. He hates his brother-in-law, right? And he was just like talking about addicts like, you know, he's never going to change. And that's how people feel about us. That's how a lot of people think. They think, and I know you guys, I know there's some people that they don't want to change, but I think for the most part, drug addicts and alcoholics are just sad people who need help, who need love, and who need to be understand, you know? It's really just, hey, Goat, man, thanks for coming. Like, y'all, I just really appreciate you guys for coming because it helps me, like, y'all help me stay sober. Like, look at this. That's my little boy over there. And we just, hey, Rockin' Roberta, I am, thank you, baby. We just, I'm with my little boy and I'm at home and, like, I can't, like, right now, I can't go to a meeting. My husband's actually in his outpatient therapy. And we're pissing on heroin. Okay, I'm cool. I like that. That was cool. I'm here. So I'm like, what can I do for my recovery? You know, what can I do? What can I do to help somebody else? Because that's something that my sponsor always told me is that the best way to get out of my own selfish thinking and out of my own way is to do something for someone else. Hey, Frank, and that helps me. Doing something to help someone else helps me stay sober. And whenever I'm thinking about using or I'm having a bad day or I'm struggling or I'm feeling insecure, you know what I do? I call somebody else. I reach out to somebody else. He peed on the wall at the gas station today. I picked him up from school and he had held his pee-pee for so long. He goes, Mom, pull over. So I pulled over and there was somebody in the bathroom. So we went out behind the gas station and he pissed on the wall. And there was this lady driving by and she goes, I have a son and he's 29 and he still does that. I'm like, well, you know, boys, they'll be boys. Yeah. I'm so proud of you, Frank, for coming back. Oh, I told you I was going to tell y'all a story time. Let me think, okay? I've had so many relapses. I'm trying to think of a good story time that's not too bad, but it's like you guys will be able to laugh at it. Oh, I had this on in the car, and then my phone died, so now I'm finally here. Oh my gosh, girl, are you listening to me inside your phone? I bet you that's loud. I know. So listen, I'm trying to think of a story that's kind of like not too bad, but so that way I don't like. Okay, let me think. So let's just think about. Okay, so how many? The relapses that I always remember are my relapses that I had when I moved back, when I got out of prison and I came here to Little Rock. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go, Sam. So when I got out of prison, you guys know I got out of prison and I paroled out here and I moved into the halfway house, okay? So when I was living in the halfway house, I got my sponsor. I was doing everything right. I got my job. I was working at Kroger, you guys. I was doing so good. I got promoted by my 5th month to assistant manager of the deli, and I was making bank. And like, to me, it was bank. It was like $17 an hour, and that's a lot here in Arkansas. Arkansas is the lowest paid state in all 50 states. Like, we are poverty level, okay, guys? So I was working at Kroger. I was the assistant manager. I was slicing deli meat. I mean, I'm just out there slicing and dicing, doing my thing. I was able to hire people. I was able to make the prescription. I was able to make the schedule. No, it's Arkansas. Lowest paid minimum wage. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to tell you about how I got kicked out of the halfway house, because I don't think I've really ever told you guys how I got kicked out of the halfway house. So I had been in the halfway house for 6 months, and I graduated to the next level, okay? The next level is where you move out of, like, the house, and how the house was set up was it was this big building. It's an old nursing home, okay? So down one hall is all the women, and down this hall is all the men, and then down on the basement is another area for men, okay? When you would first walk in the building, you would have a little, like, room right here. That's where we would, like, take drug screens and stuff. And then right here in the middle, like a central located little desk, that was where they kept the TOSS, which is basically a behavioral tech that would, like, make sure we signed in and out, make sure we made it by curfew, that kind of thing, okay? So curfew is at 10 o'clock. Oh, okay, here we go. Curfew's at 10 o'clock, and when I got into the halfway house, I roommated up with this girl I was in treatment with, okay? Let me tell you about this girl first. She was 15, and her name was Andy, okay? Beautiful little girl, and I'm here with her. I'm friends with her now, and she's sober, and she's been sober for like 5 years. Hey, Eric. So me and Andy roommated up in the halfway house, and I lived there for 6 months. Andy relapsed after the second week. We were in rehab the whole 30 days together, right? Because when I came out of prison, I went to the halfway house, relapsed right away, went into treatment, and then came back to the halfway house, got my job at Kroger, started working, and then Andy followed behind me, and she roommated up with me inside the halfway house. So 2 weeks, you guys, and I'm at home. I'm laying in my bed, and here comes Andy, climbing through the window, spider monkey style. This little girl, I'm telling you, 100 pounds dripping wet. She would always wear these little, like, hippie bandanas like this, like the little thin strings, with her hair down like this, and she had a little tattoo of a peace sign on her ankle. Just a cute little thing, little tube tops, little jean shorts, funny as hell. But she was an IV meth user at the age of 15, you guys, 15. So one night, she snuck out, right? And I was like, please don't go, girl. We had become so close living in the rehab together. It was like she was like one of my little sisters. Like, I took her underneath my wing, you know? Yes. And I loved her. Every morning when we were in treatment, we would wake up And I'll read it to you guys right now. And we would read this part out of the big book. And you guys need to start reading this, okay? Okay. Every morning when we would wake up, we would read this. And it's on page 86 in the Alcoholics Anonymous big book. Listen. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is clear of wrong motives. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. We relax and we take it easy. We don't struggle. We are often surprised how the right answers come after we have tried this for a while. What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will at time passes be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it. We usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer that we be shown all through the day what our next step is to be, that we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We ask especially for freedom from self-will and are careful to make no requests for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why. So we would read that every morning. And basically, it just tells you, like, upon awakening, ask God to direct your thinking. Ask Him to deliver us from dishonesty, self-pity, and self-seeking motives. And, y'all, I tell you guys that every morning. Wake up and give your will over to God. Okay, so we would do that prayer every morning, you guys. And then there's another one farther down the page that talks about when we go to bed at night. It says, like, upon retiring. I miss being at meetings reading from the Big Blue Book now. I'm going to have to bust it back out. Yes, goat. You need to bust it back out. So we would do that every morning, you guys. So I became so attached to this little girl. Like, dude, she was like, I'm about to cry. But y'all, she's sober today. And that is like the most amazing thing. Like, I can't even believe it. Okay. So, okay, baby, I'm hurrying. So we would read that in the morning. So we got out of treatment and we moved in together. So we both started out in the halfway house together. But after 2 weeks, like, seriously, guys, she didn't even make it the first week. The first week she was sneaking out in and out of our rooms. And so she got kicked out and she didn't come back. You know, I think she went back to her hometown. I'm not really sure. But I made it. Like, I stayed in the halfway house and I abided by the rules. And in 6 months, it was time for me to move out to the next phase, which was the apartment building, which was next door. And you would have your own apartment. It was like a 1-bedroom efficiency. And this is where, remember, I told you guys about Ashley and Jennifer, my 2 neighbors. Ashley was my friend that committed suicide. And then Jennifer is my other friend that y'all will probably meet one day. So we were all living across, like, around each other. Like, they lived on this side, I lived on that side. So I was still doing my thing, going to work. Every day when I would get off work, I would go in at 6 o'clock in the morning and I would get off at 2, right? And then I would go home and I would get dressed in my workout clothes and I would go to the Big Dam Bridge, which is this huge bridge, you guys. And I would walk up and down it, up and down it, up and down it. And I lost 65 pounds doing that when I got out of prison, because I just stayed active. I stayed active. So I had, like, a plan. Like, I had a schedule for each one of my days, you guys. I never strayed from my schedule. I always called my sponsor in the morning. I always went to work from 6 to 2. Then I would get off and go work out. Then I would go to a meeting and then I would come home. And that went on for like another 4 months. And then at about 9 months, 10 months sober, that's when I started straying from my schedule. And I stopped, like, what happened was I stopped calling my sponsor every day, and I started calling her like every other day. And then I slowly but surely stopped going to my meetings and started, like, you know what happened? Boys. So I met Joe. Remember the convict with the bald head? I met Joe, the convict, and started sleeping with him. Started having him over to my apartment and sleeping with him. Well, basically whenever I could get the chance. He ended up getting caught coming over to my apartment and actually had to go to jail for 30 days because he was on federal parole, and he wasn't allowed to be over at my apartment because they had to go from home to work, from home to work. They couldn't go anywhere. Oh, listen, my sponsor would call me out like, hey, and she was like, my sponsor was a black lady, right? And she was an old school crackhead. And she had been sober, I think 6 or 8 years when I got her as my sponsor. And if I would come into the meeting and like kind of come in late because I had been fucking a boy, she would totally call me out. And what happened was she started realizing that, you know, what happened was, guys, I was letting boys come before everything. Like, I started getting really just like secretive about what I was doing because I knew that I wasn't supposed to be hooking up with guys. Like, she told me not to get in a relationship the first year of my recovery. She told me, you know, to stay and get to know myself. She told me to learn to be okay with myself alone. You know what I mean? And what did I do? The minute I got any kind of freedom, I reached out and I started hooking up with dudes. You know what I mean? I started bringing all kinds of dudes into my apartment. That Joe guy, this guy named Robert, and this guy named Brandon. Okay, so this is where things start getting froggy. Okay. So Joe went to jail for 30 days. Okay, thank you, Captain. Joe went to jail for 30 days for getting busted over at my apartment, and I met this guy named Brandon. And let me tell y'all how I met him. So I'm going to the cigarette shop, right? And we pull in, and this guy is standing outside of the cigarette shop. You guys, tanned, washboard, 6-pack abs. Blue eyes with dark brown hair. I'm talking crystal blue eyes. And he's a country boy. He has them low cut Wranglers on. You can see the V. You know what I'm talking about? The V. And he's got some of those work boots on. And he's dirty. He's dirty all over. His hands got black stuff on them, you know. And this kid walks up to me and asks me if I know where to get any hydrocodone cough syrup. And I knew right then that I did not need to be fooling with this guy. Is that you, Goat Springsteen? I knew right then that I didn't need to be fooling with this guy, but you know what I did? I called my friend Scott because just guess what, you guys? My friend Scott had relapsed, and he was actually on cough syrup, you know, that syrup lean stuff, and he came over and met us at that cigarette shop and sold that bottle of cough syrup to Brandon. And so me and Brandon right there exchanged numbers, and I went to my apartment. Well, one night I'm at my apartment, you guys, and he calls, and we start talking on the phone, flirting, blah, blah, blah. It is like 3 a.m., okay? And the way the apartments are set up is that TOS, the behavioral tech, can see what's going on in our apartments. So if a guy comes over in the middle of the night, they report it back to the treatment people, to my counselor. So Brandon has this loud-ass country boy truck. I'm talking like, it sounds like the muffler's falling off of it. And the apartments, they're 2 stories, and you park underneath a parking deck. So when he pulls in there, it's like, rum, rum, you know? And he's out there drunk as a motherfucker. Drunker than Cooter Brown. Down there, like, revving his engine. And I'm like, come up here, come up here. So he has beer, a 6-pack. Hey, Feel Good. And he brings it, smuggles it into my apartment. And of course, we get down with the get down, and he stays a night. And every night, you guys, he would smuggle beer in my apartment, and I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't drink. I would just let him drink, and I would, but slowly but surely, what happened was, it was like so tempting, you know, to have him there drinking. And then he would show up with like Klonopin, and I would say no to that. And then the next time he would show up with, and it, you know, Klonopin, and it was always benzos that he was taking. And he would take so many of them that he would just be out of his mind, you know. And so eventually what I did was I couldn't, I gave in, you know, and I took Klonopin with him one night. And then while I was taking the Klonopin, I drank alcohol and got drunk with him. And then Joe got out, okay? Joe got out of jail, and so Joe's calling me, and I got this guy over my apartment, and Joe wants to come over to my apartment, you know? Yeah, but the thing, Captain, was like, I told him I was in recovery. He knew that those apartments were like part of the halfway house apartments, but that's where I shouldn't have been having him to my house. Well, the minute he asked me for hydrocodone cough syrup at that gas station, that cigarette shop, I should have said, man, I don't know what you're talking about, and left. But that's just another like example to show you guys, like at that time, I like today, if somebody walked up to me and said, hey, you know where to get some cough syrup, I would be like, fuck no, you know. But back then, I was just like, I was still not willing to make the changes that I had to make to stay sober, which is tell people, fuck no, I don't know where that cough syrup's at. You know, I was still searching for things outside of myself, like men, to make me feel better about me, you know, to love me, to make me feel good. And today, like, I don't do that. Today, I don't have to, you know, get with a bunch of guys to make me feel good. Like, I have one man that I love and care about, and I'm dedicated to him. But when I was in my addiction, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I was in my early sobriety, I was still searching. And against my sponsors' recommendations and suggestions, I got into a bunch of relationships early on in my recovery. And that was just like self-sabotage, you know? I mean, she told me, you guys, don't get into a relationship the first year. You know, take it easy. Okay, Rock and Roberta, love you. And I didn't listen to her, you know? I was searching out for dick. And I was just saying, like, I'm going on a dick appointment. You know, and I was using guys to make me feel good. And yeah, but you guys, I'm telling you, like, I never realized that now. I never realized that then when it was happening, you know? I never realized that I was reaching outside of myself and using guys to make me feel okay with me, you know? I thought, oh, I just like, you know, I'm young, I'm doing my thing. But I was promiscuous like that, and I would have multiple partners like that because I needed I needed to feel reassured that I was pretty and that people liked me, and I used sex as a way to reassure myself that I was attractive and that I was beautiful and that people wanted me. And none of those people wanted me. You know? None of those people wanted me. It was just so... It was so hard, you guys, to realize that men wanting you and men liking you or men wanting to have sex with you doesn't mean that they love you. And guys, this can go both ways for you too. You know, you guys can also struggle with stuff like this. I know that a lot of men struggle with self-worth and not feeling good enough, not feeling like they please their partner, not feeling like they're going to be able to take care of their family, you know. But that's the thing, you guys. That's how it was. Like, I would use those situations to make me feel better, you know? Right, right. And a lot of those guys that we were in those relationships together, they were in active addiction too, you know? And I feel I feel bad because I used them just as much as they used me. You know what I mean? And I know that you guys and you girls know what I'm talking about. Like, we've all been there, you know? We've all experienced, like, using someone else, you know, to make ourselves feel better. And I think some of us just don't come on camera and talk about it on YouTube, you know? But it's just like, now that I'm sober and I'm living right, and I do have a husband who loves me, you know, and who I love very much and I support. It's like, now I can look back on that stuff and realize it, you know, and realize that it was just me reaching outside of myself. That's what it's always been. It's always been me trying to fill myself up with something, trying to fill a void, you know? So, but yeah, that's how that happened. I love you guys. I hope y'all had a good time tonight. I really, really, really had a good time talking with you guys. I love doing these live streams. Thanks, feel good. So, anyway, I'm going to jump off here. I need to get Nate in the bath time. He always gives me a hard time about getting in the bath. But I'm going to give the little toot-toot a bath. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll do a meditation in the morning. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow in the afternoon for a live stream. I love you guys too. Thank you guys. I'll see you later. Hey, dude, thank you for coming. If it wasn't for you participating, I'd just be here talking to myself. So I need you guys too, all right? All right, guys. Bye.